You know that feeling, right? A car lease agreement gets slid across the desk, and it's just covered in numbers and abbreviations and fine print. It honestly feels like you need a secret decoder ring to figure it all out. Well, don't worry, because today we're going to make sense of it all.
Yeah, exactly. It's like trying to read a completely foreign language. All those boxes and calculations can cause this instant math panic, and you're left just wondering, what am I actually paying for here?
So let's do just that. We are going to walk through a real lease sheet from the very top to the very bottom, just like you would at the dealership. And I promise by the end of this, you are going to feel so much more confident knowing exactly where every single one of your dollars is going.
Okay, so every car deal, doesn't matter if it's a purchase or a lease, it always begins in the exact same place, with that big number you see right there on the window sticker. This is the manufacturer's suggested retail price, or what everybody calls the MSRP. For the Equinox in our example, that's $35,790. Just think of it as the full official retail value before a single discount is applied. It's our starting line.
All right, now for the fun part. This is where we start subtracting things. This is all the good news, where we start knocking that big number down. First up, a nice clean $500 reduction. This is a direct factory rebate from Chevrolet, specifically for this model. So think of it as the first piece of free money that comes right off the top. And then, boom, another $1,000 off. This is a GM lease loyalty credit. And what that means is, because this customer is already in a GM lease, the manufacturer is basically saying, hey, thanks for staying in the family, and rewarding them with a pretty big discount. And here is the big one, the GMS employee discount, which is a massive reduction of over $2,600. Now, here's what makes this so powerful. This discount actually takes the price below what the dealer paid for the car. I mean, this is a huge win for the customer. Okay, this is probably the number one most confusing thing when you're leasing a car. You hand over $2,000, so you expect the price to drop by $2,000, right? Well, it's not quite that simple. That money actually gets split up to cover a few different things. So here's how that $2,000 gets split. A big piece of it, $1,279.31, is used to directly lower the car's price. Then another chunk covers your very first monthly payment, and the rest takes care of some of the state taxes right out front. So when you look back at that main lease sheet, you'll see this number, negative $1,279.31. That is the part of your cash at sign-in that's being subtracted from the vehicle's cost. The key thing to get is that your down payment is working for you just in 3 different ways at once. All right, we've subtracted all the good stuff. Now we have to shift gears a little and look at the items that get added back into the calculation. And that starts with any money you might owe on a previous lease. So in this case, the customer still had some payments left on their old vehicle, nearly $2,400 worth. But instead of them having to pay that full amount, the dealership has capped their portion at just $1,500. And this is where a charge actually becomes a benefit. You see, the dealer is absorbing or eating almost $900 of that old lease balance, so they're turning what could have been a deal breaker into a really significant saving for the customer. And that is the number you see added back onto the sheet, that $1,500 lease payoff obligation. It's that capped amount from the old lease that's just getting rolled into the new agreement. Next up are the standard state and admin fees. Look, these are just the mandatory costs for titling the vehicle in New York, for the dealership's paperwork, and for handling the new plates and registration with the DMV. It's all pretty straightforward stuff. So, after all the subtractions and all the additions, we've pretty much done all the hard work. We are now ready to get to the single most important number in the entire lease agreement. Okay, the very final item to add in is taxes. In New York, the sales tax on a lease is actually calculated on the total of all your payments, and then it's rolled right into the financing. It's a pretty big chunk for sure, but it is the last piece of the puzzle. And that brings us to the final number after everything, and I mean everything, is factored in, $33,678.89. This is the big one. This is what's known as the net capitalized cost. So what is the net capitalized cost? Simple. Forget the sticker price. This is your bottom line. It is the actual sale price that the bank is financing for you, and it's the number that is going to determine your monthly payment. Let's put that into perspective for a second. We started at an MSRP of almost $36,000. After everything, including rolling in $1,500 from an old lease and paying all the taxes and fees, the final price is over $2,100 less than the sticker. That just shows you the power of all those discounts. So let's just recap that journey real quick. It's a simple process. You start with the MSRP, you subtract all your credits and your discounts, you add back any obligations and fees, and that leaves you with the final, all-important net capitalized cost.
If you remember just one thing from all of this, please make it this. Focus on the net cap cost. That is the real price of the car you are leasing. It is the number that truly, truly matters because it's what you are actually financing.
By understanding how you get from that sticker price all the way down to that final net cap cost, you're not just looking at numbers anymore. You're seeing the story behind them. And that knowledge, well, that's what empowers you to walk into any dealership with total confidence.